rolling down a backwoods Tennessee byway. One arm on the wheel, holding my lover with the other. A sweet, soft southern thrill. Worked hard all week, got a little jingle on a Tennessee Saturday night. Couldn't feel better, I'm together with my Dixieland tonight. Spend my dollar, park in a holler neath the mountain moonlight. Hold her up tight, make a little loving, a little turtle doving on a Mason-Dixon night. It's my life, oh so right, my Dixieland delight.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Big Dog Brett. Thanks so much for tuning in, and thank you guys for 6K. We finally hit 6K subscribers early sometime this morning, so appreciate each and every one of you that has subscribed to the channel. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, it's like 60% of you guys, I would greatly appreciate it if you would take a moment to do so. Okay, without further ado, man, what a great game. Hats off to both of these teams. Both of these teams played absolutely incredible football games in every aspect except for a few. So let's go ahead and say that this was a very interesting game. The game really took a lot of momentum at the very beginning of the game. Tennessee jumps out to a 21-7 lead in the first quarter, and then Alabama brings it back to 20-28 by the half. That's huge. That's huge. And then by the end of the third quarter, it was like 34-35, I think it was. And then the last quarter of the game was really the deciding factor. But man, we've got a lot to talk about. Did Tennessee win this game? Yes, Tennessee won this game. Did Tennessee beat Alabama? That's a whole different ballgame. And that's because Alabama did a fine job of shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, if you don't know, there was 17 penalties, which is a program record for Alabama. Program record. Like 130 yards worth of penalties or something ridiculous like that. When you consider that their offense, Alabama's offense put up 569 yards of total offense. And and Tennessee put up something like 567. This was an incredibly close game, and Alabama should have won this game. Alabama would have won this game. By the way, one of the penalties that I recall early on was a holding penalty that brings the ball all the way back from like a 30-yard run. So not only did they get the holding call, so they lost 10 yards there, they also lost a 30-yard pickup on a run, which would have been huge. It flipped the whole field position. It just really made things more difficult. There was a time whenever Tennessee benefited from a couple of false starts where basically Bryce Young is throwing from his own end zone, gets a bad snap, and because he's the athlete that he is, he manages to get the ball away, which normally any other team probably would have been a safety. This was a terrible performance by Alabama, and they still almost won. Now, that having been said, Alabama didn't go out there and lay down, and Tennessee didn't go out there and lay down. Both of these teams absolutely got after it. But, man, if you're Tennessee, I don't blame you for beating your chest, but you better recognize that Alabama helped you win this game. Happy for you guys. I know it's the first top. I know it's the first top 10 win since like 2005. I don't know when I don't know if that team that you beat them was a top 5 team. That was the first top 10 since like 2005, but the first top 5 team, maybe top 3. I don't know how long or how far back words. I don't know how far back you would have to go to find the last time they beat a top 3 team. It may even be one of their national championship seasons. I don't know. You can look into that. Let me know down in the comments. Also, while you're down there, go ahead and let me know what you thought about this game. And before you guys, and I know there's a lot of Alabama fans out there, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, please don't jump down into the comment section and start telling me that the refs, I already see this stuff all over social media right now. Look, guys, I don't care how bad the refs were or how good the referees were. None of the false starts were wrong. And that was 5 penalties, I think, on its own. It was like 4 or 5 false starts. The pass interference calls were legit. The holding happens on every play. I get it. Some of those were ticky-tack. I'll give you that. But the vast majority of these penalties were Alabama committed these penalties. You can see them on the instant replay. I don't think that any of the penalties that were called was egregiously wrong. I think they all fell within the realm of either, yeah, you did it, or man, that was close. I can see them calling that. And that's from a Georgia fan. I don't like Tennessee or Alabama. But I can tell you right now, after having the game you guys had against Texas where it was 15 penalties, I figured Nick Saban would have cleaned that up. And now you come out and you commit 17 penalties and, again, struggle through a whole game. You get to the end and Tennessee has to kick a field goal, and you guys almost blocked it. Tennessee has to kick a field goal to win it, and they do. So Bryce Young comes out. He throws for 455 yards. Oh, my goodness. I can't name the last time I see a quarterback throw 455 yards against a top 6 team. Incredible. I can't name the last time I've seen any team throw for 385 yards against a top 3 ranked Alabama. Incredible. Hendon Hooker's QBR was 94.3. Bryce Young's was 89.4. Basically, if he makes 1 or 2 or more of those passes, then he's right there with Hendon Hooker. And one of those definitely would have been a throwaway that he did in the end zone. So trying to keep from keep from getting a safety. Hendon Hooker was averaging 12.8 yards a throw. Bryce Young was averaging 8.8 a throw. Hendon Hooker had 5 touchdowns and 1 interception. He went 21 for 30. So it's not like he was throwing the ball 50-something times to get 385 yards. He threw it 21 times. Incredible. I don't know what happened to Alabama's defensive backs, but man, there's some work to be had there. The receiving, I thought was pretty decent for Alabama. There's a couple of drop passes here and there. You certainly could say that, needed some work, but for the most part, I thought the Alabama receiving corps did a pretty good job. Both teams, limited the turnovers. I think Hendon Hooker fumbled one, and Christian Charles fumbled one, but he got it back. And then Quandarius Robinson, he fumbled one and lost one. And then Dallas Turner, he recovered the turnover from Hendon Hooker, but and then there was the 1 interception. So it wasn't like it was a bunch of turnovers in this game that really created the problems. Almost no team punted. I think there was 1 punt return by Tennessee and 1 punt return by Alabama. The punters were sitting on the sidelines in this game. What I can tell you, though, is that there is a lot that needs to be done for this Alabama team in order for those guys to continue moving forward in a positive way. Now, at this point, I can't say that they're going to turn around and they're going to do a great job and get this fixed. They should have had this fixed in week 2. That was 5 weeks ago. During the Texas game, which they almost lost 20-19. Then they struggled with Arkansas for a little while. Texas A&M on the road, they 24-20. And then they go on the road. They didn't go on the road to Texas A&M, excuse me. Then they go on the road to Tennessee, and they beat Texas at home by 4, and they lose to Tennessee by 3. And next week, they got Mississippi State. Now, Mississippi State, not the worst team around, but Alabama should beat them. And should beat them soundly. But if they keep committing these penalties, man, they're going to have a problem. And then just a few weeks after that, they got Ole Miss coming up, who's ranked number 7. It is possible that if Alabama doesn't get this fixed, they're going to go into the Auburn game with 2 losses. And I mean, granted, Auburn's not going to do anything but, lay down and lose. But, at the same time, then you got Tennessee over here who in just a couple of weeks, they play Kentucky, which Kentucky did lose, but that's a gritty team. And then they got Georgia, and that's going to be a great game as well. It's really, really interesting at this point. Vols jumped to number 3 in the rankings. Georgia's number 1. Ohio State's number 2, I believe. But Alabama, man, wow, what a great game. As far as if you weren't an Alabama fan and you weren't a Tennessee fan, you can still watch this game and get a lot out of it. The best thing that came out of this game was that everybody that watched Alabama and watched Tennessee got to see everything that both of these teams had to show. There was they weren't playing backups in the second half of the first quarter. They were playing full throttle the whole game, doing everything they could. Alabama made some adjustments in the first half, at the end of the first half, and did a pretty good job in the second half. Tennessee had to make some adjustments after the third quarter. They basically got shut down between the first quarter and fourth quarter, and that's really where they won the game. So, hats off Tennessee. Biggest win, I think, in you guys in many, many years, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. So, leave your thoughts down in the comment section. What did you think was going to happen? What went wrong? And don't blame the refs, you guys. Have a great day. God bless. Go Dawg.